Even though you've been unemployed for so long, you still act so arrogant. Get out. Don't think you can keep living in luxury forever. As I lifted my face from the laptop I was working on at the dining table, a sharp pain shot through my neck. Ouch. That's hot, I cried out, turning around. My mother-in-law stood behind me, holding a hair iron. She had been getting ready in the bathroom earlier, and now she was pressing the hot iron against my neck. Humph. So even a freeloader, like you can feel heat, she sneered. I was just checking. How thick-skinned you are, you do nothing, yet you live such a comfortable life. But I work hard. Why are you treating me like this? I protested. You call that working? Sitting at home and being lazy is not a job. It's time you stopped leeching off us. But the real freeloaders were my husband and mother-in-law. I was the one paying $7,000 in rent, covering all the living expenses and giving them allowances. And yet, I had to endure this cruelty. I had reached my limit. Leave this house immediately. My mother-in-law shouted. Who knows what I might do next? Just to be clear, I said, you really want me to go? Once I leave, I'll never come back. Yes, please go. I never want to care for someone as poor as you again. Her words didn't hurt me anymore. This place never felt like home. Tears mixed with my frustration and the pain in my neck as I packed my things. Without looking back, I left my in-laws' house for good. My name is Laura, I'm 37 years old, and I've been married for 4 years. Even before marriage, I worked from home as a freelance writer. After graduating from college and working at a company, I had to quit and move back to my parent house when my father had an accident. My mother, who had trouble walking, couldn't care for him alone. That's when I started looking for a job I could do from home. I began freelancing with simple internet tasks. As my father got better and I had more free time, I took on more work. I realized I was good at writing and my income kept growing. My articles became popular, and I started getting direct job offers. Before I knew it, I was making more money than I did at my old company job. During this time, I went to a reunion with my college friends. Hey, isn't that Laura? Long time no see, someone called out. That's when I met Larry again, the man who would later become my husband. He was 4 years younger than me in college. Back then, he was always the life of the party, known for making quick decisions and having a fun personality. After graduation, he got a job at a well-known foreign company. We didn't talk much in college, but that day, we had a deep conversation for the first time. Maybe it was because we were so different, but we never ran out of things to say. After meeting a few more times, we naturally started dating. I really love foreign fashion and accessories. My dream is to open a shop that sells only my favorites. I've already started working on it, Larry told me. I enjoyed listening to him. He was smart, but still had a childlike excitement when talking about his dreams. Even someone as quiet as me felt inspired just hearing him. So, when he proposed, I was truly happy. A big change happened about a year after we got married. My father-in-law passed away suddenly. Laura, would you mind living with my mom for a while? My husband asked me. Because of his father's job, his parents had been living in a fancy apartment for years, but after his dad passed, it became hard to afford the high rent. Mom is still struggling to accept what happened. She wants to stay there a little longer, but the lease still has a year left. Could we stay there until then? I understood it was hard for his mom to move right after losing her husband. Of course, we can't leave her alone, I said. Don't worry about the rent, Mom and I will cover it. But since it's expensive, could you help with the living costs until my father's inheritance arrives? It's fine, no problem. It's a little pricey, but it's only for a year. I wasn't interested in fashion or fancy things, but I was curious about what a luxury apartment looked like. At that time, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I didn't realize how hard it would be to live with my mother-in-law. I had no idea that moving in with her would be the start of my struggles. From the very first time we met, it was clear she didn't like me. When we went to tell her about our marriage, she said, of all people, Larry had to choose an older woman. How did you trick him? She looked down on me, but at that time, my father-in-law stepped in to help. Now that he was gone, there was no one to stop her. The day we moved in, she made her feelings clear. I still don't accept you as Larry's wife. I wanted to support her, knowing she was grieving, but her words hurt me. My spirit started to break. The next day, the complaints began. Laura, even if you're staying home, don't dress so lazily. Do you even know where you are? Always be ready for guests, dress properly. But, I'm just wearing jeans. This isn't loungewear jeans? That's unacceptable. At least wear a skirt. And always put on makeup before breakfast. I wondered if this was what living a high-class life meant, but I nodded and said, yes, I understand. That evening, she continued with her remarks. Did you buy these ingredients from that store? How can you make such a poor meal with food from there? I got them from a high-end supermarket nearby. I'm sorry, did it not taste good? Helen, it's just a simple salad. Larry likes it, so I make it often. But yes, that supermarket is expensive, she sighed deeply and shook her head. How embarrassing. Try to act in a way that won't shame our family, you never know who's watching. At that moment, I made a promise to myself. I will do everything I can to gain her approval. I worked hard every day, improving my appearance, my cooking, and my manners. But no matter what I did, she never changed. At first, I tried to ignore her cold words, but over time, they became unbearable. I felt worthless, powerless. I wanted to talk to Larry about it. Before, we spent so much time together and enjoyed our days as a couple. But after moving in, we barely saw each other. Sorry, I've been really busy with work, he would say, sounding exhausted. Hearing that, I felt like I couldn't complain. But even I had my limits. One day, I finally decided to share my feelings. Larry, I need to talk to you. Oh, actually, I have something to tell you, too, he said. I quit my job 4 months ago. What? Quit? What do you mean? Don't worry. I already started something new. Remember the select shop I always wanted to open? I finally launched it. I'm co-managing it with James, my senior from college. What? You never told me about this before. James was well known in our university group. Everyone admired him for his leadership and confidence. He was creative and business savvy. He had successfully developed a game app in college, started a business with friends, and recently found success in web design. There was no doubt he was a great business partner. Larry, speaking in his usual gentle voice but looking a bit guilty, said, I didn't want to worry you or Mom. I'll work harder from now on. Will you support me? His words touched me, but I was unsure. I'll support you. But then, Larry made an unexpected request. Thanks. So, about the rent. Can you cover all of it? I was shocked. What? I thought you and your mom were splitting the rent. I can't pay everything by myself, especially since I'm already covering the living costs. Anxiety filled my heart. Larry looked at me sincerely. Please, Laura. This has always been my dream. The business is taking longer than expected to make money, so I need to invest more in advertising. I promise I'll get it on track before we leave here. But I need your help to do that. His passion and determination moved me. I couldn't say no. I could afford the rent with my income, and luckily, we had some savings. More than that, I had chosen to marry him because I believed in his dreams. All right, I understand. But only until the lease ends. Also, I want to know more about your business. Of course. Thank you, Laura, Larry said happily, showing me the website for his shop. I was impressed by how well it was designed. Is there anything I can help with? I offered, but Larry shook his head firmly. No, I want you to focus on your work. And please, don't tell my mom about this. I don't want to worry her unnecessarily. With this new situation, I stopped thinking about my mother-in-law. I truly wanted to support Larry's dream, but over time, my financial burden only grew. I was now paying for everything. Household expenses, my husband's business, and even my mother-in-law's allowance. The only thing I wished for was for the rental contract to end soon. One day, my mother-in-law said, "Laura, since you're staying here, you should help more with the housework. Can you take a break from your computer and do some cleaning?" I quickly replied, "Oh, I'm sorry, mother, I'll start right away. Finish this quickly. No more excuses. We have guests coming this afternoon. And after you're done cleaning, leave the house." My relationship with my mother-in-law never changed. Ever since I moved in, she made it clear she didn't want me around. Whenever she had guests, I had to leave after cleaning. It was obvious she thought I was a bother. Luckily, since I could work from anywhere with my laptop, I didn't mind too much. But that day, something unexpected happened. When I came home in the evening, my mother-in-law greeted me with an oddly satisfied smile. "Welcome back. I cleaned up your room." Confused, I rushed to my office. The room was indeed tidy, but not in a good way. My things had been packed up. In the middle of the room were a large suitcase and 2 duffel bags. "What does this mean, mother?" I asked, my heart pounding. This room was meant for guests. I can't let someone like you, who doesn't know how to keep a house properly, use it for free. If you want to stay here, you need to pay rent for this room. If you don't like that, then leave. I stood there, speechless. Why did I have to endure this? As I lowered my head, holding back my frustration, she added with a smirk, "I'll say it again. I don't accept you as Larry's wife." Then she walked off to the living room. Tears welled up in my eyes. I grabbed my phone and called Larry, but he didn't answer. I texted him about what happened, and he replied, "Please bear with it a little longer." I couldn't take it anymore. When Larry got home late that night, I poured out all my anger. "Just hold on a little longer," he said. "Work is stressful for me too. Don't worry about my mother. It's just a little more endurance. I'm already paying the full rent, and now she wants me to pay for my room too? This is too much." I snapped. Larry quickly tried to calm me down. "I'm really sorry. Once we move out, you won't have to see her again. Please just put up with it until then." His words eased my anger a little. I won't have to see her again. That thought gave me some relief. The next morning before leaving, Larry seemed to have a conversation with his mother. We had breakfast together, and for the first time, she didn't make any sarcastic comments. Since my room had been packed up, I decided to work at the dining table. That's when my mother-in-law spoke up. "Are you leaving today?" I looked up from my computer. Then suddenly, a sharp pain shot through my neck. Ouch. That's hot. I screamed and turned around. My mother-in-law stood there with a smirk, holding a hair iron. "What are you doing?" I shouted. My neck burned with pain. I grabbed it and rushed to the fridge to get a cooling pack. Thinking back, I remembered she had been getting ready in the bathroom earlier. She must have used the hot iron on me on purpose. "Oh. So you can feel heat," she sneered. "I was just checking how thick-skinned you are. You live such a comfortable life, yet you're completely useless. I work hard too. Why would you do something so cruel?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Work. Sitting at home and pretending to be busy isn't work. You're just an unemployed freeloader. It's time you started thinking about our situation and became independent." But in reality, was the one paying the rent and covering all the living expenses? Why was the one being treated this way? Before I knew it, I was glaring at her. "What's with that look?" she snapped. "The look of a poor, useless person? I've had enough. Leave this house right now. If you don't, I don't know what I might do next." I took a deep breath and said, "Are you sure? Once I leave, I'm never coming back." "That's fine with me. I'm tired of taking care of someone like you," she said coldly. Pain and disappointment filled my heart as I packed my things. Since she had already organized my belongings the day before, it didn't take long. I no longer cared about this house or the people in it. Without looking back, I left. After getting treatment at the hospital, I went to my usual cafe to calm down. It was quiet, with spacious tables, perfect for focusing on work. As I sat there, debating whether to call Larry, someone suddenly spoke. "Laura? Is that you?" I looked up in surprise. It was James, my senior from college. James. Long time no see. How's Larry doing? He asked. Larry is in your care, right? I heard you're his business partner. Sorry I didn't get to greet you earlier. James frowned. Business partner? What do you mean? I only helped design the website because Larry asked me to. I froze. Really? My heart sank. He told me you were co-owners. James looked just as surprised. I also heard you were the one funding the business. My mind raced. So Larry had been lying to me. James continued. Larry rented a separate apartment and worked hard in the beginning, but after a few months, he stopped. He hired others to handle inventory and shipping. And for marketing, he just paid an advertising agency instead of doing anything himself. I felt sick. Everything I believed about Larry was crumbling. At first, I advised Larry to handle things himself, but he refused. That's not a businessman's job. He was too focused on the image of being a business owner rather than actually running the business. As a result, there was no increase in customers or sales, only growing expenses, and yet he gave up too soon. According to James, Larry was now heavily involved in online business, spending a lot on consultants. By the way, have you heard about your father-in-law's inheritance? James asked. I shook my head. There was some debt, not as much as expected. But your mother-in-law is managing her share, so they're financially stable. Plus, Larry says that with his wife's good income, even if he fails, they'll be fine. Really? I asked, stunned. But that money is running out too. James continued. He's been living lavishly, acting like a big business owner, and even treating his juniors to expensive meals. I was speechless. So that was why I had to cover my mother-in-law's allowance. They had already spent my father-in-law's inheritance. Larry's constant requests for financial help weren't because of his business struggles. It was because he was running out of money, and he never told me about the inheritance. Maybe that was the reason. Suddenly, everything made sense. James's words connected the missing pieces in my mind. I got up, thanked him, and left the cafe. Before I knew it, I was standing in front of my parents' house. My father looked surprised to see me with my luggage. The moment I saw my parents' faces, all the emotions I had been holding back came rushing out. Tears spilled down my cheeks. Tell us what happened. Your mom and I are always on your side, my father said gently. That's right, you always try too hard on your own, my mother added. Their warm words made me cry even more. Between sobs, I told them everything, the way my mother-in-law had treated me, how I had been paying all the expenses for my in-laws' house, and how Larry had been deceiving me. Both my parents were outraged. My mother cried with me. You don't need to go back there, my father said firmly. Live for yourself. Now. His words hit deep. After letting everything out, I felt lighter, as if a huge burden had been lifted from my heart. What have I been living for all these months? Larry sent me a short message. Where are you now? Then more messages followed, after. I ignored them. His attempts to contact me stopped completely. It made me realize something. Maybe I had never really mattered to him at all, but instead of sadness, I felt a new sense of determination. That night, I had dinner with my parents. Just sitting with them, sharing a simple meal, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: warmth, comfort, and real family. Maybe what I had been searching for all along was something this simple. True happiness. As I stayed at my parents' house, little by little, I began to feel like myself again. About 3 weeks later, Larry called. It was probably because the rent was due. Laura, where are you? Has everything calmed down with Mom? She feels bad about it. Aren't you coming back soon? I'm at my parents' house now, and I plan to stay here. Your mother said she was tired of taking care of a poor person like me, so I am not coming back. Let's get a divorce. Wait, why divorce? If the problem is living with Mom, let's fix it. I'll come pick you up. Let's talk in person. Why should we talk now when you ignored me before? And how's your business? There was a long silence. Then Larry finally spoke. Actually, I'm getting advice from someone experienced in business. There might be a big opportunity coming next month. That's it. I asked. Let's just look for a new place to live before making any big decisions, he added quickly. Don't change the subject. You're not telling me anything important, that's why I don't want to talk anymore. I'll write up the divorce papers and send them to you. I hung up the phone, but that night, Larry suddenly showed up at my parents' house. I opened the door just enough to talk to him, keeping the chain locked. Laura, please don't be mad. Let's go back. Mom feels bad about it. Stop sulking, I clenched my fists. Sulking? Your mother kicked me out of the house. Don't take it so seriously, he said with a sigh. And not take it seriously? My voice shook with anger. Do you even know why I left? Your mother pressed a hot hair iron against my neck. She burned me. I don't know what else she might do. And there's no way I'm going back. I pulled my hair back, revealing the burn mark. Larry's eyes widened. Did Mom really do that? I'm sorry. I didn't know. Why didn't you tell me? Because your mother told you it was just a simple fight, right? Larry looked guilty. I'm really sorry. Are you okay? A simple fight? My anger boiled over. First, I wanted to handle the divorce without seeing him. But now, my rage was too strong. I wasn't just angry at my mother-in-law, I was furious at Larry, too. Anyway, I'm not coming back. You should go home, I'll contact you tomorrow. Larry hesitated. Really? Will you actually call me? I can't accept a divorce without even discussing it. If you don't contact me, I'll come back tomorrow. With that, he left. I decided to meet Larry and my mother-in-law 4 days later. We arranged to meet in the afternoon at a cafe restaurant on the 40th floor of a luxury hotel. That day, I was ready. I wore an elegant, branded dress that showed my neck and styled my hair up. As soon as my mother-in-law saw me, she looked unhappy. Thank you for meeting me today, I said with a smile. I've reserved afternoon tea, so please enjoy it. Larry seemed relieved that I was calm. Soon tea and small appetizers were served. Before we could start eating, my mother-in-law spoke first. Laura, I'm truly sorry for what happened last time. I was wrong. Larry scolded me harshly. Will you forgive me? I didn't answer right away. Instead, I quietly continued eating my appetizer. Then, I turned my neck slightly, revealing the burned scar. I'll forgive you, but only after this scar fades. Then, I looked at her and asked, by the way, did you know Larry quit his job? Larry flinched. My mother-in-law turned to him, eyes wide with shock. What? What do you mean he quit? He always says he's busy. He's a hard-working businessman. Larry panicked. Wait, hold on, businessman. I interrupted, raising an eyebrow. Larry, explain yourself. Did you actually start a business? As his mother questioned him, Larry struggled to come up with excuses. At that moment, the tea stand was brought to our table. I picked up a sweet treat and calmly enjoyed it while watching the chaos unfold. The view from their luxury apartment had been nice, but the view from this 40th floor cafe was just as special. By the way, Larry, I said, taking a sip of tea. What? Have you been so focused on lately? I heard from James that you quit the select shop. Did I ask that true? Larry's face turned pale. What? How did you? He stammered, looking both surprised and scared. Meanwhile, my mother-in-law grabbed his arm, demanding answers. Larry, what is she talking about? Why would you do that? I sighed and looked directly at him. I know everything. The truth is you were more obsessed with looking successful than actually running a business, right? You had no real plan, no business skills, and you just recklessly spent all the money your father left behind. My mother-in-law's voice was filled with panic. Wait. Larry, what does she mean? You used up all the inheritance. Her face turned even paler as a terrifying thought crossed her mind. Don't tell me. Did you also use my share of the inheritance? I nodded. That's right. Larry spent all of your money, too. That's why the household finances are completely drained. Larry's face twisted with desperation. Stop. Don't say any more, Mom. Don't worry. I'll fix this. He was frantically trying to control the situation. But his mother looked devastated. Larry, I trusted you, how could you betray me like this? She leaned back in shock, her expression dark with despair. She seemed too stunned to say another word. Meanwhile, I remained calm, pretending not to notice her distress. Helen, actually? I continued. I've been paying for everything in that house. Even the allowance you thought Larry was giving you was my money. On top of that, I've been covering Larry's expenses while he's been playing around, pretending to be a businessman. My mother-in-law's face went pale. Oh, that can't be true. Larry tried to smooth things over. Don't worry, Mom, with Laura's income, we'll manage. His real intentions were clear now. He had just been using me. Don't joke around, I said firmly. I heard you're planning to start another business. We're already at rock bottom, and you're still wasting money and playing around? Stop it now. My words were harsh, but at this point, I didn't care. The cafe fell into silence, heavy with tension. I took the last sip of my tea and set the cup down. Then, in a calm but firm voice, I said, I won't support you two anymore. You'll have to pay next week's rent on your own. And as for the divorce, we'll handle everything properly through a lawyer. I stood up, pulled the divorce papers from my bag, and placed them on the table. Larry's eyes filled with tears. Laura, please, I don't want a divorce. Don't do this. But my mind was already made up. My mother-in-law, looking panicked and pale, finally spoke. Wait, Laura. I'm really sorry, I had no idea. Without you, we won't survive. Please help us. We're family. Hearing her say family now was almost laughable. Family? I repeated. Didn't you say before that you never accepted me as part of your family? I pulled out another document. As compensation for the burn you gave me, I expect this payment. I hope you still have that allowance money left. Without another word, I turned and walked away, leaving them sitting there in shock. Larry remained silent, unable to say anything. Looking up at the towering hotel from the street below, I couldn't help but think, I hope they feel what it's like to fall from luxury to reality. That was the end of my revenge. After that, we got divorced. Larry tried to resist at first, but when I threatened to report his mother to the police for burning me, he quickly gave in. I thought I would never forgive my mother-in-law, but once she disappeared from my life, I no longer cared. As long as they stayed out of my world, that was enough for me. I also demanded a large settlement from Larry for emotional distress. Later, I heard they had moved into a tiny, cramped apartment. Their relationship had become strained. My mother-in-law, who once looked down on me, was now working part-time as a cleaner. Just imagining the scene made me laugh. Larry, now drowning in debt, was working multiple night shifts just to survive. It turned out that being an employee suited him better. After all, the confidence and excitement I once admired in him were nothing more than reckless foolishness. Living in luxury and spending his father's inheritance had only exposed his true nature. I continued working while living at my parents' house. Later, I met with James and thanked him for everything. I also told him the full story that he said he appreciated my writing skills, and now he's giving me work. For now, I just want to focus on myself and enjoy life with my parents.